Hey crochet friends, welcome back, or if you're new here, I'm Mo, your crochet companion. Today we're wrapping up our Mastering Crochet Joins series with 2 seamless functional ways to join yarn in your projects. These joins will keep your work looking smooth and polished from the start to finish. Why did the yarn bring a +1? Because it didn't want to join alone. Okay, so let's dive in and make those color changes as flawless as your stitches. What you're going to need, the usual suspect, any yarn that you can grab, your scissors, and you're going to need a marker, a stitch marker today, okay? We're actually going to start with what is called the continuous overlay join. This is something that you're going to want, and you're going to thank me for teaching you how to do it in working in the round. I know I am so thankful that I discovered how to do this as well. So you're at the end of your row, and you've already put a stitch marker in your first stitch so that you knew that that's where you needed to go. So there it is. That's your stitch, okay? So I'm actually going to take the stitch marker out now because we already know that it's there. And it's going to feel awkward and weird. So the reason why we want to do this joint is because you kind of see a little bit there at the first row before, how it's kind of got a nice little gap. This project that I did, wasn't teaching how to do it, so I've got the gap. So you can tell where my row ends and row begins. Now that's why the stitch marker is important, because if you don't have your stitch marker, you're going to get yourself confused and you're going to wonder, where did I start? Where did I finish? Oh my goodness, which way's up? Which way's down? So you want to make sure that you're marking that first stitch anytime that you start a new row. Okay, so in this, we are actually going to we're going to take our hook out of our loop and drop our stitch, and then we're going to go to that first stitch on our round. You're going to go from the front, or from the back to the front, and you're going to insert your hook into that first stitch. Now you can do this any way you want to, but I'm going to probably turn my work around so that I can kind of figure out where I'm going. And then we're going to put this loop back on our hook. So this is basically, we're going to do step 1. This is basically step 1 of it. We're going to insert our loop back on our hook, and we're going to pull it through that stitch. Now, we're going to go back to the front. We're going to bring our yarn to the back and around. So this is the second step. We're going to go into the back loop of this stitch, so right here. And don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how to do this again as well. So we're going to put this in the back loop, and you're going to grab your yarn and put it back on your hook. So once you've got that on, you've got 2 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through both of those. Now, let's say we're going to do a single crochet in the next, so you're just going to keep on going like as if you never missed a beat. Going to do a single crochet and keep on going. Now, don't forget, we want to mark that first stitch before we go too far, so we know that that's the stitch that we need to go into. So I'm going to meet you back here at the tail end of this stitch, okay? Okay, so we've made it to the end of our round. We know that we made it to the end because we've got our stitch marker here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that stitch marker out. And we're going to do that business all over again. So I'm going to go a little bit closer here so you guys can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to take my hook out of the yarn, or out of the loop. We're going to go to the first stitch and insert our hook underneath both of those loops, going from the back to the front. Now, I'm going to go turn it around. I'm going to put my loop back on my hook. I gotta get a little bit tighter, and we're going to pull that through that loop. Now we're going to drop that yarn, pull it to the left here. Again, we're going to take our hook out of the loop. We're going to insert our hook into the back loop of that last stitch, grab our yarn, put it back on our hook, or that loop, put it back on our hook, yarn over, and pull through those two. Now let's say we're going to do a double crochet. Just need to do the chain 2 and go right into that next stitch. And away you go. Okay. Pretty awesome, right? I love that. That is like the best thing ever. The best thing ever from sliced cheese. All right, so I have another yarning technique that I'm going to go over. Give me just a moment here. Okay, so I am back. We just went over the continuous overlay stitch, and that particular join is perfect for hats, amigurumi, or stuffies, or any project where you want flawless, seamless looks. Now, this one, I don't really know that there is a name for it. If it's one that I just made up, maybe I saw somebody do it. I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but I'm going to call it the hidden tail chain. And this is a perfect join for when you are doing Irish lace, particularly the mesh. So this is a hidden tail chain. It's one of my favorite ways to hide yarn tails while chaining for delicate projects like Irish lace mesh. So you know how when sometimes, and this speaks to my Irish lace people, or anybody who is doing any kind of a mesh, or if they're joining with for like chains and stuff like that. So normally when you are adding a chain for Irish lace, you're going to just join with a chain, right? But you're still stuck with this tail. What are you going to do with that tail? How are you going to weave it in? You got a chain, right? How do you weave it in? So you wind up weaving it in and out of these little spots, right? So it's not much fun. And it's not easy, and it's not necessarily secure. So as you can see, as I'm wiggling around, I could actually pull that out right there. So I learned, like I said, I don't know if there's a name for it, but I'm going to call it the hidden tail, the hidden tail chain joint. So what I do is I put my hook in there, and I make sure that I throw my tail over to the side, up over this right here. I'm going to do my chain. Going to make it nice and snug. Now before I go on, I'm going to take my tail and go back over. So that's how it looks. It goes back over the back. And then I'm going to do another chain. Make sure it's snug. Now, we're going to go back over the other way, do another chain. Now, how it looks, oh, and make sure it's snug. Now, how it looks in real time is this is how I have learned to kind of do it. So I chain one, grab it, chain one, so it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. You see how it kind of, it does make it a little bit of a bulkier chain, but that's okay. It saves your bacon. Not only is it now secure, but then you don't have to weave in the end. It's the best thing ever. Best things from sliced cheese. No, I'm just teasing. I don't know. But I do kind of get mesmerized by doing it this way too. So you just kind of go back and forth to do that. Now let's look at this again, how we start it. So I'm going to start it again. Now I grab my chain, or I can grab my thread, I throw it over top this thread onto the right side, chain 1, then I grab it, throw it over top of this one, to the left, snug, to the right, snug, to the left, snug it, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Oh Lord. It's bad when you think you think you're funny. But anywho, you get the point. That is a wonderful method. This keeps your starting point clean and saves time by hiding the tail as you work. And let me tell you what, when you're doing mesh and Irish lace, this is such a heavenly thing, because trying to hide a tail in a chain is almost impossible. So doing it this way, it saves you time and it makes your work nice and secure and less likely to have issues in the long run. So continuous overlay join, we're going to recap this. It keeps you want to keep your tension even to prevent gaps and ensure a truly seamless look. The hidden tail chain join, you want to make sure that you're patient when you first are learning this. Join and make sure your tail is snug, but not too tight. That's the key, because if you do it too tight, then you can't. If you have to happen to need to crochet into it, then if you do it too tight, you can't get your hook in there. So you want to make sure it's snug, but not too snug. And there you have it. 2 more seamless and functional ways to join yarn for polished professional look and a finish that's beautiful and worthy of your talent. All right, so which join are you most excited to try? Drop me a comment below and tag me on social media. I'd love to see your projects. As always, I love your comments. These really highlight my day. I love seeing them, and I love knowing that I'm helping somebody along the way. If there's something that you feel like I need to do to improve, let me know. Or if you think that I'm doing just fine, let me know. Either way, I like to know how I'm doing for you as well. So that pretty much wraps up our Mastering Crochet Joins series, but I've got plenty of more exciting crochet tutorials on the way. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out. And in the meantime, happy crocheting.